What happens when one of the world's most famous beer tycoons becomes the target of a chilling kidnapping plot? In 1983, the world was shaken by the daring abduction of beer magnate Freddy Heineken. So watch this video, you will see the Heineken Kidnapping, a tale of crime, betrayal, and survival. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. A crime that shook the world. How far would you go to chase wealth? For four men in 1983, the answer was a meticulously planned kidnapping that would forever alter the life of one of the world's most iconic beer tycoons. Freddy Heineken, the chairman of the Heineken brewery empire, became the target of one of the most infamous crimes in history. What started as a plan to secure an astronomical ransom spiraled into a dark tale of captivity, tension, and terror. Little did the world know that this crime would not only expose the greed of a few, but also leave an indelible mark on the annals of criminal history. The shadowy beginnings. In the quiet streets of Amsterdam, few suspected that a storm was brewing. Behind closed doors, Cor van Hout and Willem Hollier, along with their accomplices, Frans Meijer and Jan Bollard, plotted a scheme so audacious that it bordered on madness. Their target? The 60-year-old billionaire Freddy Heineken and his loyal driver, Ab Dotterer. For months, the group immersed themselves in surveillance. They noted every movement of Heineken, from the moment he left his office to his habitual stops at favorite cafes. They even studied the streets to determine escape routes. Their meticulousness was chilling, but it wasn't just about precision. It was about control. The audacity of their plan sent shivers down the spines of those who later uncovered their methods. The fateful abduction. The air was thick with tension on November 9, 1983. Freddy Heineken had no idea his life was about to change forever as he exited his Amsterdam office that evening. A van lurked nearby, its doors slightly ajar, waiting for the perfect moment. Within seconds, chaos erupted. Armed men jumped out, grabbing Heineken and Dotterer before onlookers could react. Screams pierced the air, but the van disappeared into the labyrinth of city streets before anyone could intervene. The abduction was a masterpiece of speed and precision. Witnesses were left frozen, their minds racing with disbelief. Who could execute such a daring crime in broad daylight? And what was their motive? The streets of Amsterdam, usually alive with chatter, became cloaked in fear. The shadow of crime loomed larger than ever before. A prison like no other. Imagine being confined in a soundproof cell, no light, no sense of time, and no escape. For Freddy Heineken and Ab Dotterer, this nightmarish scenario became their grim reality. Hidden in a warehouse on the outskirts of Amsterdam, they were chained to walls in two small, cramped rooms. The kidnappers had constructed these cells specifically to prevent any sound from escaping. The cold, damp walls and complete isolation played havoc on their minds. Freddy Heineken, a man who had lived a life of luxury and power, now faced a stark contrast. Stripped of his freedom, he grappled with despair. Ab Dotterer, loyal to the end, became his only source of solace. Days turned into weeks, with the captors' visits being the only interruption to their suffocating silence. The air was thick with unspoken fears. Would they ever see the outside world again? The ransom demand. What price would you pay for a loved one's freedom? For the Heineken family, the kidnappers' demand was staggering. 35 million Dutch guilders, a sum so immense it seemed impossible. The instructions were explicit and left no room for negotiation. The captors warned that any deviation would result in deadly consequences. As the Heineken family scrambled to gather the ransom, the police faced a dilemma. Could they risk delivering such a massive sum without guaranteeing Freddy's safety? The stakes were astronomical. Every phone call from the kidnappers dripped with menace. Each message was a reminder of the thin line separating life from death. Would the ransom be enough to end the nightmare, or was it merely a prelude to more violence? The chase to break the silence. While the captors believed they were invincible, the Dutch police launched an investigation that rivaled the crime in its complexity. Detectives pored over every piece of evidence. The cryptic phone call, an overlooked tire mark, and a series of anonymous tips began to form a trail. But the clock was ticking. Each day that passed without a breakthrough intensified fears for Heineken and Dotterer's lives. The investigation team's persistence was unrelenting. Using surveillance, undercover operatives, and even psychological tactics, they pushed the limits of law enforcement ingenuity. Yet, for all their efforts, the kidnappers seemed always one step ahead. The tension reaches a boiling point. Inside the warehouse, the atmosphere grew increasingly volatile. The captors' confidence began to waver as rumors of police activity reached their ears. Paranoia crept in, eroding their unity. Arguments broke out over how to handle the hostages and the ransom. Tempers flared and cracks appeared in their carefully constructed plan. For Heineken and Dotterer, these signs of discord offered a glimmer of hope. But hope was a double-edged sword. If their captors panicked, the situation could escalate dangerously. In the dim light of their cells, they braced themselves for whatever fate awaited them. The dramatic rescue. The breakthrough finally came in the form of a crucial tip. An anonymous source led law enforcement to the unassuming warehouse on the outskirts of Amsterdam. The tension was palpable as a heavily armed SWAT team prepared to raid the site. Every second counted, every move carried the weight of life and death. On the night of November 30, 1983, the raid unfolded like a scene from a crime thriller. The sound of breaking doors, shouts, and chaos filled the air. When the chains were finally removed from Heineken and Dotterer, their ordeal came to an end. Yet the relief was short-lived. The kidnappers had fled, leaving behind only the empty cells and fragments of their elaborate scheme. The downfall of the masterminds. Would the criminals ever pay for their crimes? Cor van Hout and Willem Holleder's escape triggered an international manhunt. From safe houses in Paris to exotic hideouts in the Caribbean, the fugitives led authorities on a chase that spanned continents. But their luck couldn't hold forever. Over time, each member of the group was apprehended, their downfall as dramatic as the crime itself. The trials that followed revealed chilling details about the kidnapping. The mastermind's greed, the fractured relationships among the kidnappers, and the psychological toll on Heineken and Dotterer all came to light. Justice was served, but the scars left by the crime would never fully heal. Freddy Heineken's unbreakable spirit. Emerging from captivity, Freddy Heineken's resilience was nothing short of remarkable. Though visibly shaken, he refused to let his ordeal define him. Instead, he focused on rebuilding his life and continuing to grow his business empire. His survival became a symbol of human endurance, yet he often spoke about the psychological torment he endured, a haunting reminder of how greed can destroy lives. The legacy of the Heineken Kidnapping. Decades later, the Heineken Kidnapping remains one of the most sensational crimes in European history. It exposed vulnerabilities in security systems and sparked debates about ransom negotiations. Movies, documentaries, and books have immortalized the tale, ensuring it is never forgotten. Yet for those directly involved, the memories are not mere stories. They are scars etched into their very being. The crime also reshaped law enforcement strategies. Governments worldwide took note of how meticulous planning and swift action could counter even the most complex criminal operations. Freddy Heineken's survival was a triumph of human resilience, but it came at a heavy price. Which part of the Heineken kidnapping shocked you the most? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and discuss this fascinating case with others who love unraveling the mysteries of true crime.